CrossFit Madera podcast. Take one. Welcome everyone once again to another episode of the CrossFit Madera podcast. Let me get myself in frame. Today I'm joined by
Priscilla Ramirez.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Just finished up a 9 a.m. workout. How was that workout?
It was good.
Good or good like ugh?
Because it was 30 minutes, but good because it was definitely a great workout. So
That's awesome. We got to talking a little bit about, a couple of stories of yours after the workout, specifically how hard the sit-ups were today. So for anybody listening who, on this day of recording, April 21st? Yeah, I know because yesterday was 420.
Oh, I'm
sure you know too. Probably had to,
I wasn't
confiscate some stuff. Oh, okay.
So.
But April 21st, 2021. Today's workout was a 30-minute AMRAP, as many rounds as possible, 20 kettlebell swings, 30 sit-ups, 40 jump ropes, either single unders or double unders. And everybody unanimously voted the sit-ups is the worst movement today.
Yes.
And you were saying that why were they so hard for you today?
Well, I've had 2 kids, so that's like one of my biggest struggles, I guess you could say, is ab workouts. After you have kids or go through a pregnancy or a natural, or my second was a cesarean. So after going through those, it does a lot of obviously damage to your muscles. So having to restore those muscles is obviously very difficult. And over time, you work out and you think you've built that muscle up, but needless to say, after doing another workout, you're like, okay, maybe I'm not as strong as my core as I thought I was. So,
but I think you probably do have a strong core. It's just we tax the shit out of it today.
Oh yeah, definitely, absolutely.
You were saying that. So for also people who don't know, Priscilla is a police officer here, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I was like, is it or where she works?
Yeah, it's
awesome. But you were saying the police academy had you doing a ton of abs.
Oh yeah, we did so many abs. It was insane. Like, again, I trained here before I went into the police academy, and oh my gosh, that helped me so much because in the academy, that's basically what we do is CrossFit workouts or, you do hits. So it definitely helped me prepare for it. But once you get there, obviously it's even more intense than what your expectation was. And so we did so many ab workouts, so many sit-ups, and like literally to the point where I'd have to go home and ice my abs because it hurt so bad.
Yikes.
I felt like my abs were ripping is what it felt like. So, but yeah, so when you and I had gotten into talking about that, I'm like, well, I started here when I was 8 weeks postpartum with my daughter. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
kind of wild. That's similar to my sister working out now because my sister just had her first child.
Oh, okay.
And she's working out, but she's not doing the stuff that we're doing.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I'm like, whoa, to start CrossFit 8 weeks postpartum, that's kind of nutty, man.
It was craziness. I remember doing box jumps, and I did my first box jump and my legs literally gave out. Like they were jello because for 8 weeks, you're
right,
not doing much of anything.
Yeah.
You're obviously doing your daily routine of getting up, moving around, taking care of the baby and stuff like that. But I wasn't working out by any means. So when I came in, I tried, I'm good to go. I had lost all the weight. So I'm like, I'm good to go. Went to go do a box jump and ate it. Legs completely gave out.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Did you jack up your shin?
No. Thank God it was when I was coming down. So when I went to go land.
Oh.
So I got up. I was like, oh, yeah, I'm good to go.
That's almost worse.
Came down and the leg just gave out.
So you landed on your butt?
No, I landed forward on my knees. I landed on my legs and then my legs just gave out and I landed, came forward.
So you're jumping over the box?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. I thought you were coming down backwards.
Oh, no.
Because that's how you could, fuck up your Achilles.
Oh, I bet.
And that's a tough injury to come back from. I know people who can't squat. I shouldn't say I know people. I know of people. Like I've been around people who cannot squat with their heels on the ground, and I would coach them to, hey, get your heels on the ground. They're like, dude, I can't. Like I had my Achilles removed.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, due to some sort of circumstance. Like, and it's just not like a stable ligament for them anymore. So I think when it comes to CrossFit injuries, everybody gets super scared about like, oh, what if like you hit yourself with the bar, or like there's a ton of videos out there
Oh yeah.
that scare the shit out of people.
Yeah.
But my biggest fear is something small like that. Like when I hear stories about like, yeah, I came down from a, I don't know, what have you, like a jump rope. Like I was jumping rope. I came down on my heel a little bit too hard, and like my ACL gave out or whatever. I don't know. I have a ton of friends who have stories like that.
Thank God I haven't done any of that.
Yeah, I haven't, that I know of. I've never pulled anything, never broken anything. Nothing here.
I have hurt my shins really bad doing box jumps before, and oh my gosh, I thought I was gonna die. That hurt so bad. Oh, just the thought of it makes me get the chills.
Was that your worst CrossFit injury?
Probably.
I just realized.
Or burning the shit out of your ankle when you're coming down from the ropes.
I was just gonna say that's my worst one.
That one hurts. I had a bruise doing them last week when we had that time that we were working on.
Yeah.
You know.
I was just gonna say, like, I probably shouldn't bring up like injuries and stuff on like a podcast meant to promote the gym, but in the issue,
it's trial and error.
Yeah, it's trial and error, and I want to be transparent.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
you're definitely gonna get injuries, but I feel like it's so rewarding once you overcome something that you worked, or that was a weakness and you overcame, and you're like, I don't care about the scar I have or the burn mark I have on my leg. I did it, you know?
Battle wounds.
Exactly. It's totally worth it. Absolutely.
And I think you have to have that mentality if you're going to go into the line of work that you're in. It's like you can't really care too much about, you know, what if this happens? What if that happens? The anxiety can't be there if you're going to perform correctly, if you're going to do your job the way you should do your job. And same thing here. I mean, to a much lesser degree, I can't have stage fright talking to people.
Oh yeah.
I have to be out in front of people. You know, I don't get away from it.
Yeah. So
what's one of the things you feel like you've overcome here and at work? Let's talk about that.
How do I word this? I guess it is more of, it is a sense of fear, but it's more of, I guess, doubt, less than it is fear. You doubt yourself, you know, I'm like, oh, I'm a mom of 2. I've been through 2 pregnancies. You know, I'm almost 30, and you start to doubt yourself, and then you get here and your coaches are like, F that. You're badass. Like, you can do it. Let's just keep pushing, you know, and the motivation here is, oh, I mean, I feel like that's one of the biggest reasons why I keep coming out. Yeah, the workouts are great, you know what I mean? But the training's awesome. But the motivation and the people that are here every day inspiring you, and even will randomly text you and be like, hey, I know you're doing this today. Good luck. Good job. You know, we're here for you, you know. And I've told many coaches like what my goals are within my department, and they're always, let's do it. Let's go. When are we training? You know what I mean? So I could honestly say that being here has really prepared me for when I went into the academy, and has helped me overall within my career. And I think will definitely help me meet those goals and aspirations within my department that are of physical fitness and, you know, just that mental state, that mental strength that I need to get through it. So, yeah.
Cool.
Awesome here.
Yeah, that's great. Great to hear.
Love these people.
I think that's something I don't think about too often. Is too often I get like the average Joe, or, you know, somebody who works a desk job that I'm like, oh, all I care about you, dude, is you being healthy.
Yeah.
You know, I want you walking out of here okay, being able to walk a flight of stairs.
Yeah.
I forget that I'm also training people like you who are going into a job where, no, you guys are going to need that push. You guys are going to need that high intensity to feel that adrenaline and get acclimated to that. That's a really good point to make. How long were you here before you went to the police academy?
Well, let's see. I think my daughter was almost, no, she was 2. She was 2 when I went to the academy. So 2 years, a year and a half, almost 2 years.
Oh,
no,
wow.
It was 2 years because I came in here 8 weeks after she was born. So 2 years. Went into the police academy. Came back obviously afterwards. So I've been here back. I think I just took off that 1 year that I was in the police academy because it was just too much
Rough.
to do.
Yeah,
both.
I don't think that would be fair to ask of someone to say, hey, do the police academy and also do these CrossFit workouts.
Well, I would try. Like, I would come in on Saturdays.
Yeah.
Or, like, when we would have late days over there, I'd try to come in the morning. I feel like it wasn't more, or it wasn't so much, oh, I want to go in and get a workout in. A lot of it was, hey, I want to go see my friends, I want to go see my family, And it did. It becomes like a home here. I tell people all the time, my kids are always, they do whatever they want here, Like,
true.
Chris in martial arts, like, hey, come join the class. Like, okay. Look, going on the mat, and they're always just, they love being here. And so that makes it easier for me as a mom because they want to be here too. So I'm like, great, let's go,
Yeah.
So when I get home and my daughter finds out that I was here without her, she's probably going to be really upset. But
what are certain like physical standards that you have to continue to meet at work that the workouts here kind of help you out with?
I would definitely say endurance. I mean, the weight in itself, yeah, is definitely helpful, like moving up in weight and stuff like that. I have almost 30 pounds of gear that I wear for 4 or 5 days out of the week.
Damn.
So, yeah, I would definitely just say the endurance, doing those high intensity interval trainings that consist of heavy weight. It's like, okay, I'm going to use this 45 kettlebell or 35 pound kettlebell because I have 30 pounds of gear, and that's kind of equivalent to that. So I'm doing, putting as much strength and energy out there while also carrying that gear that I normally carry every day.
Do you ever feel like our rest days are helpful to kind of recover from work as well? Because we have a lot of days where we do go hard, but we also have plenty of days where the workout is literally, we're going to stretch, we're going to do a little bit of running, light run, or we're going to stretch and we're going to cycle on the bike on and off, nice and light. Those light days are supposed to be recovery days from the workouts, but how do they feel for you, who you're not just coming in from hard workouts at a desk job, like I said earlier, you're coming in from hard workouts and hard manual labor?
They're nice, like on the day. I mean, I definitely don't come every day that I work. I try to come, but it's obviously difficult when you work 12-hour shifts and then having to come home and still do your duties as a mom, And so when we do get those days and they happen to correlate with my work schedule, I mean, it's obviously nice because I'm like, oh, good, because I did not want to go out there and run 800 meters, So that is nice too, to just come in and be like, okay, I still got a good workout in, or I got some good stretching in, so mobility in. So yeah, that's definitely nice too.
And you keep touching on this point that I want to phone in on now. How does it feel knowing that you're a young, healthy mom, being able to kind of interact with your kids? Because a lot of people, I think, take that for granted. I had that growing up. My parents worked a lot, but they were both pretty young and healthy when I was growing up. But I know a lot of people whose parents were already older and did not really maintain any sort of physical fitness as they were growing up. So literally, like, we'd go over and it was like, how come you and your dad never played catch? And it's like, well, dude, he can't.
He's
like,
tired.
he can't. Yeah,
he just got off work, That's huge for me, honestly. Anybody who knows me knows I always have my kids. My kids are my number one. Those are my babies. People laugh at me because I always say that every time they see me, like, "Oh, my babies." Yeah, those are my babies. But it's nice because after working 12 hours, most people do. I mean, we talk about this at work all the time. It's like, I'm gonna go home and go straight to sleep. It's like, no, I can't go home and go straight to sleep, you know? So being able to work out, and coaches here giving you pointers as far as eating and staying healthy, and, you know, things that you should drink, and, you know, how much you should drink, or whatever the case may be as far as it goes to physical fitness, that helps me because it helps give me energy where I'm good with 4 or 5 hours of sleep, you know. So just for example, yesterday I got off at 7 in the morning. I work nights, so got off at 7 in the morning, had to go to court for about 2 hours, got home at about 9:30, almost 10 o'clock. Showered, I slept from like 10:30 to 1:30, got up, went to some appointments, you know, got home, went to dinner with my kids, went and hung out with my family and my brother, and um, I'm able to have that energy to say I'm good to go off of 4 hours,
Yeah.
you know. And obviously that's not healthy, but on the days when I'm going on to my off days, that helps me be able to stay up and awake with them and not waste that whole day, because, you know, obviously most people have their Friday and then they're off for X amount of days and a full day, you know. And so I don't want to have to lose that day because I want to be able to spend that day with my family and my kids.
Yeah, I'm sure that's a big refresher, being able to come home to your husband, your son, and your daughter and get that downtime with them. And not only have that downtime, but have that little spare energy left to, like, hey, why don't we go to the
Invest in
park? Yeah, why don't we do something?
Mm-hmm.
How important is it for you and Dylan, because I know he's really active too, how important is it for you guys to keep the kids active and make sure that everybody in the family is accustomed to kind of moving around like that?
Oh, I mean, it's very important to us. I'm on the days that, I mean, during the weekdays, we're here sometimes 3 times a day, you know, because I'll come in for CrossFit in the morning at 9. Camila's with me. And then we'll come back like 5:30, 6 o'clock because, you know, Nicholas has soccer. And then we'll go home, eat dinner, and we'll come back from martial arts at 7:45. So sometimes we're here all day long. And that's the biggest thing for me, is they see us doing it. It's not like, hey, you need to go to soccer practice, or hey, you need to go to dance practice. It's okay, we're all going to go together, and we do all go together.
Leading by example.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, and just like, I mean, you've seen Camila all the time coming in. And
she won't sit still.
Yeah. Grabs the 5-pound kettlebell and starts doing kettlebell swings, or, you know, grabs the I can't think of the word, the pipes.
The PVC pipes.
PVC pipes, thanks. Grabs those, and she's trying to do power cleans and squats. So she definitely sees it, and obviously Nicholas sees it too. So, and there's been times when I've been in here. I just posted one the other day. You know, I'm in here and I'm like ready to give up, and out of nowhere, you know, your kids are just like, "Go, mom, go! Let's go, mom!" You know, and cheering you on. So they see it. They know it's not easy, and I just hope to always instill that in them. You know, that hard work, that dedication, and perseverance.
Yeah, and that's great. That's, I think, part of what the whole vibe is here, because I mean,
Absolutely.
You can't get that really anywhere else. You can't first of all, you can't really take your kids to Planet Fitness with you. I always feel like this is the on Planet Fitness podcast. I'm not on you if you go to Planet Fitness. If that's what's comfortable for you,
Absolutely.
mazel tov. Good for you. All I'm doing is hyping my gym up. That's all I'm doing. But also, I think it's kind of cool and really interesting that, because again, I'm not on anyone. My mom and dad didn't get a chance to really put my sister and I in anything. And they didn't do a lot because they were always working. I think it's great that you and Dylan don't just work. You guys also come here and you bring the kids, and it's like, all right, watch me do this and you're going to do that. You guys are jumping into like the deep end of the pool though. Like I said, you're not taking them to some bodybuilding gym where it's like, sit there, watch me do these curls for like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to rest, and then you're going to watch me do 30 more curls. You're like, sit there, watch me climb this big ass rope, jump over this freaking box, eat shit, get on that bike and run. And let somebody choke me out, you know?
At the end of the day.
Do you feel like they're growing up fearless? Because I know Camila has no fear in
Oh,
here.
absolutely none.
Yeah.
Absolutely none. No, Nicholas is the same too. No fear whatsoever. Like, yeah, let's do it. Let's go. What do we do next? You know? Getting into that family aspect. I mean, when I first started here and Camila was a baby, I mean, Bo would be walking around with her in his arms, like trying to get her, to calm down, or feeding her while I'm finishing my work. No, keep going, keep working out. I got her. She's gonna eat right now. She's fine. Like that's why I say they've grown up here. Like it is family here. They've known these people. Camila's literally known these people since birth.
Yeah.
So, and then Bo and everybody else here is really big on family. Chris is big on family, and Alicia is big on family. So,
Yeah.
Just the different events that we've had. I remember, when we would have Friday Night Lights,
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, so much fun. So much fun. Just coming and working out. It's like, all right, bringing out the beer after working out, having potlucks
Those are the days.
afterwards. Oh man, especially during summer, you'd get the bounce house out here. Kids love it. Like, it's just so much. It is so much fun being here.
That's why I've been asking everybody this question, because we just got out of the COVID year. The COVID year hit us hard, especially because we used to do a whole lot of community events. We used to. The only reason I know how to golf is because we had a golf tournament. So I only know how to golf because of this place. You can't get my
golf training at Planet Fitness.
Yeah, exactly. But you can't get my like middle class, like blue collar ass on a golf course without, a job like this, without a job that opens up that opportunity. How did that COVID year kind of hit you, in the sense of like, not being able to come here to the gym, or just not being able to live life normally, especially with the kids? Kids are restless, especially your kids. They're high energy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was rough. I was still able to work out, so that was nice, but it was one of those things where I would literally have to force myself to work out, because you don't get the energy at your house that you do here at the gym with, your friends and different people that you get to know. So I feel like that was the biggest aspect for me. Yeah, I was much harder mentally, because it's like, you have to do it. There is no option for you. You have to do it, So just going into my garage and working out, or wherever, you obviously miss this place a lot more. It makes you really appreciate having a gym, and a gym like this.
Yeah.
So
100%. And going into this as comfortably as you feel, comfortably speaking about it, how was it for you and Dylan as police officers last year?
I'd say Dylan got more or had more difficult time with it than I did. Our schedule was really nice. I won't say what the schedule was. It was really nice, to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go back to work. I need to go to work. It's too many days off. But there was, I don't know how to. I mean, as far as police work goes, the crime is pretty consistent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's, people don't care if there's
the virus in the air,
virus going on. So work was still pretty steady. Still lots of calls for service. Still out there taking calls and stuff. People still want to fight you, so
True.
They don't care how close they get to you. Like, sir, 6 feet. Negative. But yeah, Dylan's schedule stayed pretty much the same. So I felt like with his staying on a regular schedule, the kids being home all the time, and me on a different schedule, like, it was a lot for our family. But we get through it,
That's good. No, it's good that you guys got through it like everybody else, because I mean, it was rough for everyone just to acclimate to, online classes. I dropped out of school because of online classes. I was like, F this, I'm not doing this. And like, you guys were teachers in person. Now I gotta turn on my monitor and just listen to you
and like, read the book myself.
Exactly.
It's funny you say that, because people. So I got my bachelor's and my master's going online schooling.
No way.
Yeah, through
Props to
University of
you,
Phoenix.
man.
And so many people would give me shit, obviously jokingly, whatever, I don't care. But people would always give me shit. They're like, you went to school online, it can't be that hard. And I'm like, yeah, now all of you realize how freaking hard it really was. It was like holding yourself accountable and not procrastinating, like that shit's rough.
Yeah.
You know? And when you go to online school versus going on campus, you know, your teachers aren't going to read your 4-page paper. I would have a paper due every week, and I'd have a PowerPoint that I had to, because you go into class once a week. So I'd have a PowerPoint to create to present it to my class, you know, in person too. So I'm like, screw you guys. Online is hard.
No,
now
it's
people realize.
Stupid hard. And I knew it was going to be hard. I was like, man, I'm going to drop off so hard. Because I had already done one online class at Fresno City, I think the year prior or 2 years before. And I didn't like it. That's why I like this job, because I'm out and about. I'm social. I'm like with people. But
it fits your personality.
Yeah. I won't shut the up. That's the problem with me. Literally at our coach meetings, it is rough because Chris and I bounce off each other. If it's me, Chris, and Joey, forget about it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, no one's getting a word in. It's just joke after joke after joke. No work is getting done. That's not true. We get work done, but
see, that's how it is here all the time. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's so much fun being here. So
I'm just out of questions now. You know, I was
everything.
I was on interview mode. No, we were talking a little bit about the stresses of your job and just like crime being crazy right now.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it's funny. We were trading a story the other day because I work also part-time at the Madera Chamber of Commerce. We were talking about that dude who lit a fire in the back. Madera's fucking wild, man. This is going to be my most bleeped episode.
Oh, yeah,
and it's just me. But it's wild.
It is wild. And, you know, most people, like, or people that I've gone to the academy with, like, well, there's not that much going on. I'm like, you'd be surprised. I've lived here, other than when I was in the military and was in San Diego for 5 years. But other than that, I lived here my whole life. I had never been to the east side of town. Like, I had never been on that side of town. My, you know, training officers are like, you've never been to MLK? I'm like, no, I've never been to MLK. I went to a charter school.
You went to charter school?
I went to a charter school.
In Madera?
Yeah, like Knox Street. I've never been to Knox Street. Where's Knox?
Knox.
So, or McNally Park.
Oh, McNally Park.
I've never been to McNally Park. I'm like, what would I have been doing over here?
Buying drugs.
Exactly. Like,
yeah.
No, I know I've never been on this side of town. So, yeah, Madera is wild. I never knew it. I was very sheltered as a child, though. Both my parents were in law enforcement, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so. No, you didn't go to McNally Park.
Yeah. Let's hop in on that. Let's take a quick commercial break to reset the camera, and then let's hop in on what it was like to be in a law enforcement family.
Oh, God, okay.
Okay. So. The CrossFit Madera podcast is brought to you by Ridex Pest Control. Ridex Pest Control is your local exterminator offering affordable and effective pest control services, including termite inspection, bed bug removal, and more. Contact Ridex Pest Control at 559-674-7695. That's 559-674-7695. The CrossFit Madera podcast is also brought to you by Rio Acai Bowls. Rio Acai Bowls are delicious in this coach's humble opinion. They are located at 1915 Fulton Street in Fresno, California, open from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. on most weekdays. Their phone number is 559-412-7725. That's 559-412-7725. Now let's go back to the podcast. Good to just hop right back in.
Okay.
See, I've got this down. This is like my 7th episode technically, because I've recorded not just my podcast, but Chris's podcast and now Bo's podcast. So I've already fucked up. I accidentally deleted an episode.
Oh no!
It was a whole hour. And I was like,
Who was it?
it was Imani and Angie.
Oh.
I deleted their original episode, but they were super cool about it. They came right back and they were like, let's record again. And I was like, all right, cool.
That's
But
good.
now I have everything dialed in.
Yeah, nice.
So what was it like growing up in a law enforcement family?
Scary. Most people are like, oh yeah, I used to sneak out all the time. It's like I had never snuck out.
Yeah.
Like I was scared of my parents. Still am scared of my parents. Mom's crazy. Yeah, and I was, you went to school and you did good in school and you went to church. Like that's the only places you went. Everybody that knows me from high school knows like I was not that party person. I was open about how scared I was of my parents. So, but it was nice getting to learn about law enforcement, obviously, before I went into it. So I just speaking of, our dinner table conversations weren't your average dinner table conversations. It was like, oh, who'd you arrest today, or who'd you fight today, or who'd you arrest today. So yeah, learning about it growing up though is what made me really want to do it. So
is that what kind of motivated you to go the military path as well?
No, I always wanted to be in the military. I've given so many speeches about being in the military, but there was this one specific speech that I wrote about what inspired me, and it was 9/11 that inspired me to.
That's true.
I was in 3rd grade at the time, and yeah, seeing that and seeing how it affected our country, just obviously inspiring. So yeah, I always wanted to do it. I knew at a very young age I wanted to do the military. Freshman year of high school, I started talking to recruiters. Sophomore year of sophomore year of high school, I started going into their DEP programs, which is just doing training with them. It's called the Delayed Entry Program. And then by my junior year, I had already had my date set for when I was going to leave. And then my senior year, I left 3 weeks after I graduated to the military.
I feel like that's a really common theme with people who live through 9/11 old enough to really remember it, because I was born in 96, so I remember it, but I don't remember it. I was 4, 5, something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I was a kid. I knew that the world changed because afterwards you could sense like this shift. But there's a whole generation of adults now, because they're 18, 20 years old, and they don't even really understand the significance. That's okay.
Did you hear it?
No, okay. Surprisingly, I didn't hear that. I tried to take my headphones off once mid-podcast, and I dropped my hat on the microphone, and
super loud.
Super loud. It was ridiculous. But yeah, there's a whole generation that didn't live through the shift of like 90s energy and how kind of carefree that was, and the early 2000s and how that was like a cultural shift for sure. So freshman year, you start talking to people about joining the military. You joined straight out of high school. At what point do you come back? And first of all, how'd you meet Dylan?
In high school.
Okay.
In high school.
Okay. So when you came back, were you guys already together or?
Yeah, we were already together. He was actually in the military. He was in the Navy as well.
Oh, okay.
He went in, and then I went in shortly after. He didn't start talking to recruiters until his senior year. I told him I was going to do it, and he's like, "Hey, that sounds pretty cool. Let's do it."
Yeah.
So, yeah. So then he went in before me because he graduated a year before I did. And then I went in, he left October of 2009. And then I left June of 2010. Luckily, we both got stationed in San Diego. Unfortunately, we were both on ships, so we both deployed. So for 2 years, we were back and forth on deployments. I went out for a 10-month deployment, came back. He went out for 8 months. he came back. I went back out for 11 months. And then when I finally came back is when we finally got married. So for the first 2 years, going through going through boot camp and then going to your A school and then being sent out to sent out to deployment for 2 years, we had seen each other for maybe 8 weeks. And that was broken up. Yeah, that was total. That was broken up. So we saw each other before I left for deployment. We saw each other before he left for deployment. We saw each other right before I left for deployment. So yeah, 2 years.
How was that? Who's the needy one?
I want to say me. I want to say him, but I feel like it is me. So yeah, definitely more needy.
But once you guys came back, both of you go into the police academy?
So once he came back, we got married.
Okay.
And then we had Nicholas. I got pregnant with Nicholas. And when Nicholas was a year, I got out. I did my 4 and I got out. Mm-hmm. I'm like, there's no way. Because Dylan deployed when Nicholas was 2 months old. Dylan deployed when he was a month old. Yeah, he was a month old and then came back when he was almost 1 year old. And so that was rough. And I was like, I can't do that. There's no way I can leave him. So I got out, and that's when I went to school.
So you joined the police academy before Dylan then?
No, I joined after Dylan. So I got out.
Wait, I misheard then. Sorry.
I got out of the military in 2014. Dylan stayed in, and we went to Washington. So I went to school from 2019 I went to school from 2014 to 19, I think it was. Mm-hmm. That's when I got my bachelor's and my master's. Dylan got out of the military in 2019 and went straight into the police academy. Mm-hmm. No, I think I'm a year ahead. Anyways, needless to say, I went to school, and when Dylan got out of the military is when he went into the police academy.
Okay.
And then I went right after I finished college.
Got you. Okay. Now the timeline lined up in my head.
It's a lot. I'm like, I don't remember years.
There's a lot going on there. Where'd you find the space to breathe?
There was none.
But what was it for you then? I mean, maybe you're just built different.
I have to have something I'm working towards. Like,
okay.
It's always,
So that's your thing. You don't want to decompress. You want to be working towards something.
I'm always working towards something. Like I finish something, I'm like, okay, what's next? What are we doing? Like right now, not really. Kind of at a standstill, just after COVID, and we're getting back into the routine of things.
Yeah, we're here right now.
Yeah,
but we're going up.
In the back of my head, I'm like, okay, what are we doing next? Am I going to do something? Try to do something within my department? Am I try to do something with CrossFit? Like, kind of want to do CrossFit competition.
Yeah, there's a lot coming up now.
I've been thinking about that too. Like what's next? So getting a little too eager.
How do you avoid burnout? Because I feel like with myself, I've definitely seen it, and I've seen it with a lot of athletes, especially in CrossFit, because it is so high intensity and it is hard to maintain. How do you avoid burning out?
I don't know. I just get the motivation of, I feel like my motivation is what keeps me going. There have been plenty of times where I'm like, I just want to stay home, and I do. Like if I feel like if my body's telling me to do something, I listen to it, and I stay home and I rest. And I feel like that's what it is on the days that I work. I'm deep down inside, I'm like, I need to go to the gym, but my body's just so fatigued after working those 12 hours. And I'm like, you know what? I just need to go home and rest.
Yeah, so. You put that ego away.
Yeah, definitely.
That's really good. That's really smart. And it takes someone who knows themselves really well to be able to do that. Because I remember the only time I've seriously hurt myself here in the gym was when I was deadlifting. And this is back when like my deadlift was like peak. Like I was considering just doing powerlifting, and I was like, dude, for my weight class, I think I only weighed like 145 at the time.
Yeah.
I was skinny, I was small, but I could lift a lot. My bench wasn't high because we don't really train bench in CrossFit. I think it was like 215. But for 145, that's not
Yeah,
bad.
that's really good.
My back squat was 275, and my deadlift was 420.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So my deadlift was there. And so I just kept wanting to train it. I kept wanting to train it every day on days that weren't even deadlift days. I'm like, let me deadlift a little bit. And I remember I was doing like either 6 sets of 6 or like 5 sets of 6 at 315. And on that 5th set, it was like the 5th rep. I got it up and I just felt like a, yeah. And I was like, oh, I can't, that's not good. And I remember I went but I was tired that whole day. I was tired and frustrated, and I knew I just shouldn't have, well, I didn't know. I didn't know that I should have just not picked the weight up. Looking back now, I would have just not overtrained. I was super overtrained. That's when my sessions were like 2 hours long every day, and I was doing like 2 a days because I was so bought into this CrossFit thing, you know? So I think that's why I try to slow people down and tell people all the time, hey, you know, go light today. Because it's not like you're going to go light and not going to get a good workout.
Right.
Just go faster. So that's really, I was going to say amazing. And I'm like, that sounds like hyperbole. No, but it is great to hear that you're able to like put yourself in check and say, hey, no, we can't do that today as much as we want to. Like we have long-term goals. I think that's what it is. You're very, you have a very clear vision of your long-term goals. So you're not going to let short-term goals slow you down.
Yeah.
Is that something, how do you instill that in your kids?
I feel like with my kids, it's more about sticking with something is what I teach them. Cause for a while, you know, Nicholas would, well, I want to do football, but I want to do soccer, but I want to do baseball, you know? And it's like, okay, you could do all of it, but you need to stick to it. Like you're going to do it and you're going to do it for the whole year, you know, or you're going to stay on the team. You're going to be on a team. You're going to stick with that team until the season's over. So I feel like that's my biggest thing with them is showing them how to be, or to be dedicated, you know, to a team, or to be dedicated to a coach who's investing time in you, you know, like you give 100%, you're there for an hour, you're going to give 100% that whole hour. And they do. And I feel like that's a lot of it has to do because they see us do it at the same time.
Yeah. Do you think, how old is Nicholas now?
He's 7.
Do you think they like get that their parents are like police officers who like do all this stuff and also do all this? Or do you think they don't really like, I mean, obviously that's the norm for them.
I don't think they realize it. I mean, obviously they realize what we do, and, you know, they're always telling us, okay, be safe, you know, come home safe, or.
That's sweet.
But I don't think they realize that it's not I don't want to boast myself by any means, but I don't feel like they don't realize that it's not what the average person does.
That's definitely not the norm.
Know?
No.
I don't think they realize that.
I think
they think everybody does it. Everybody's like that, you know?
Yeah. Which is a great position to be in. If you're living like here at this, like, you know, revolutions per minute, and other people normally live here, I think that's probably why it's easy for you to not burn out too. You know, I didn't do any sports in high school. I didn't do nothing, no athletic background at all. I didn't even like sports. I mean, I liked moving around, but I didn't watch sports or anything. So I think when I got into MMA and then I got into CrossFit, I went too hard and I burned myself out, and I wasn't used to working that hard. So I burned out versus somebody like you and maybe Dylan. I don't know. We got to get him on the podcast to hear his story, but you're used to operating at these revolutions per minute that are above normal people.
Well, now that you say that, like, it probably does come from, you know, at my adolescence, I was at a very young age. Well, my mom was going to college when I was 14, and then
Mm-hmm.
she had my little brother at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, a lot of the responsibility at 14 fell on me, because not that it was pressured upon me, like, hey, you have to do this and this and this and this. In the sense it was, but at the same time, it was also just my personality. Be like, hey, mom, what
Yeah.
else do you need me to do? Or hey, mom, I'll do
Mm-hmm.
this. Or I'll take the baby. Like, so. I mean, I was always in sports. Um, Always trying to get good grades. I've always been in honors and AP classes,
Mm-hmm.
and so my, I mean, my parents would have to come in and be like, "Hey, you need to go to sleep. Stop cleaning your room,"
Mm-hmm.
or "Go to sleep. Stop reading that book." Or so I don't know. Maybe just growing. That's how I grew up. Like it was always go go go. Like you went to school and then you went to practice and then you came home and you had to clean and you had to cook and then you had to do homework and Fridays you were at football games and then you had to come home and do more homework. And I mean, when you're in AP and honors classes, you have homework over the weekend too. So like
Yeah.
staying focused on that. So I don't know. Maybe just never getting that. I was never that
You never
child.
slowed down.
Yeah, no, I was never that child that just went home and watched TV all day. Like I was always doing something,
Hmm.
And even at a young age, I mean, I've always ran and like worked out because I was never the skinny girl,
Hmm.
when being thick wasn't in.
Yeah.
So,
You know what's crazy is I was watching this old movie with somebody. It was either my sister or yeah, I think it was my sister. We were watching the original Coming to America.
Mhm.
Um, and when you see like most of the models that are like lined up for like Eddie Murphy to like marry, like for Prince Hakim, they're all super skinny,
Yeah.
and you're like, what the that?
Yeah.
Because that's not the standard at all now.
No, no. So yeah, I was, my cousins were all size double zeros, and I'm
Mm.
like, I'm a 4, I'm a 6.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always felt like I had to work out, and
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, maybe just that mentality growing up and just stuck with me. Like,
Feeling like you had to work hard
yeah,
to reach your just standard.
I don't know yeah, maybe. I feel like I was gonna say I don't want to use the word. I felt like I had to. I feel like I always wanted to.
Yeah. Well, that's always way better. It's way better to feel like, oh, I want to do all this stuff versus
Mm-hmm.
like I have to. Like nowadays, I coach 2 classes a day. I run this podcast. I run CrossFit Madera social media. I work out myself, um, and I'm trying to balance everything in between. But I don't mind it because I
Yeah.
like doing
Mm-hmm.
this, versus I used to work at Lowe's before this. And I always use Lowe's as an example because that was the job I ever worked. It's not even like I
I was
hated
gonna say
it.
that's not even a bad job.
It's not a bad job. I didn't hate it. But compared to this,
Yeah.
it was because I'd go in and I have so many stories of like customers being assholes when they didn't need to be. I'm like, dude, I am nice.
I'm a nice.
Yeah, if
Be
you're
nice
mean
to
to me, like I have been smiling at you this whole conversation. Do not yell at me about your paint.
Oh, welcome to law enforcement.
Oh yeah, I bet.
We won't get into that.
We don't have
We
to.
won't get into that.
But going back to that point it is way better to feel like you want to do all that stuff than you have to.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause have to is always going to make you say no.
Yeah. Well, and that's probably another huge factor is, like I love my job. So
Mhm.
going to work doesn't feel like a chore to me.
Mhm.
So maybe the fact that I love it so much and it doesn't, I mean, it's just exhausting because it's 12 hours and you're
Yeah.
on the go. You're moving all day long,
Yeah.
and so that's the exhausting part. Sometimes you don't get that chance to eat, so you're just dragging because you don't have any energy in your body now, so that's the exhausting part of it. But the fact of going to work and you want to be there, like it's an enjoyable place,
Yeah.
and I don't know, that's obviously a family in itself, so it doesn't always feel like a job.
Do you feel like, how should I word this? So the same way you say it doesn't always feel like a job, I feel like here, even though it is always hard, it doesn't always feel like a workout.
No, and that's
It's weird.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It doesn't, like, it's tough, but you enjoy it. Like,
Yeah. Not only,
you don't come in like, ugh, I have to work out. I'm
yeah.
gonna sit here and curl, or I'm gonna sit here and run on the treadmill. It's fun.
Yeah, well, I think it's because you're engaged.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's because it's not just working out. It's like you're learning. You know, like when you were talking about education, I wanted to circle back to that, and now we have.
Circle back.
Yeah, exactly. um, I always felt most engaged in my classes where I saw the practical application of what I was learning. So my associates is in communications, and my bachelor's was in multimedia. So obviously, both are at use right now. But I remember I always hated my biology classes because I'm like, okay, mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. Cool. Where am I going to use that besides making that joke? Versus there were a lot of theories in interpersonal communication classes that were like, well, when you're speaking to someone and when you're disseminating information, you don't want to speak in terms that people won't understand. Even if you know big words, what good is it going to do me to say, okay, guys, make sure you're getting internal rotation of your shoulder as you press to a 90-degree angle? Like, no, let me just show you.
Yeah.
Let me show you and let me say, like, bend your elbow, bend your shoulder, you know, butt back versus, you know, rotation of the hip, like, you know,
Yeah.
speak the language of the people.
Yeah.
I feel like when you come here and we do something that doesn't seem taxing, like, for example, handstand walk practice, you know, we talked about that earlier too. It doesn't seem like it's going to be crazy hard. What do? You just kick your feet up, you hold yourself on your hands. But focusing on every little muscle fiber doing exactly what you want it to do, that's where the work is.
And in that sense, like, I feel like when you come here, it's not intimidating. You know, you come in and it's like there's always people that are learning. There's very humbled people here. I mean, and there's definitely those that are very competitive, which is also nice, you know, because you're like, come on, let's go. What are we doing today? Let's see, you know, let's see who could be faster, or let's see who can get, as you know, most rounds, or who can get the most weight. So, I mean, there's best of both worlds in that sense. So,
which do you think? I shouldn't say that. I keep asking, oh, which do you prefer or whatever to people, and it's like I don't want to.
A little bit of both.
A little bit of both.
For me, it's a little bit of both. Obviously, people who are the competitors, you aspire to be as competitive as them, or you know, do what they be in the competitions that they've been in, or excel as far as they have. But then there's also that humbling part where you're like, okay, I'm not good at that. Let's, you know, can you help me out? You know, being able to stand up and say that.
Yeah.
So
I feel like this is a place that definitely encourages that, because I know how hard it is to ask. Even now, you know, I like doing Andrew's kickboxing classes after my 9 a.m. class, because that's where I started, and that's where I've lost a lot of like technique. I feel like I'm coming back into it as a newbie, but in a good way. I feel fear sometimes asking, oh, how should I do this? When I know I shouldn't, because here, that's like how it goes. That's part of being here. Part of here is not just asking me, but asking your neighbor, because coaches have this bad habit of being so good at one particular thing. Like today I had Danny doing muscle up progression, and it's so easy for me to pull myself to the rings and do a muscle up that I forget, oh, I have to meticulously explain, no, your false grip goes over the ring. You keep your elbow straight, pull towards your sternum, push out, push your chest through. At the same time, bring your legs towards you. That's the point I missed today. And for him, I saw struggles and I saw where he was good. Part of being a member here is also watching other people, because we don't have mirrors. So your only mirror is other people. It's like, am I squatting like that, or am I squatting like that? You know, am I squatting the way he demonstrated, or that squat over there? Not judging, but saying, oh, they're getting their hips that low, I should get them that low. Or they're not bending their knee that much, let me make sure I am.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing I feel like you have here is there's coaches all around you, like even people who aren't labeled as a coach,
Yeah.
but people see, hey, I like the way she's doing that. She makes it look really easy. Or I like the way he's doing that. He does that very well. And they do come up to you and they do ask you, like, hey, can you help me out? And there's always people like, hell yeah, yeah, I'll help you out. Like, no worries. Like, this is how I do it. Feel free to do it this way, so on and so forth. So, that's definitely a plus too, like you don't have to always you don't feel like you always have to go to the coach because the coach is working with somebody else. So there's plenty of people around here that are willing to help you out along the way too.
I know it was a long time ago, but going back to CrossFit, like your first day, was there ever a movement, anything that you were like, because you come from an athletic background already, you dipped your toes in every single part of the pool. Was there ever one part where you're like, I don't know about that?
I would say the form of a power clean, like getting underneath the bar and, jumping. And you obviously in the beginning, you feel goofy.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't think I'm doing this right. Like, I don't look like her. I'm not doing it like she is.
Yeah, good point.
And so that was huge for me. I've always had like lower body strength being a dancer, you have legs, So for me, my upper body strength was always a weakness. So seeing people do rope climbs, I'm like, I'll never be able to do that. Never. I had already instilled it in my head, like, I'm not going to be able to do that. There's no way.
Yeah.
I don't have the upper body strength until I learned the form of it. And it's like, oh, it's not really upper body strength. Like, it is upper body strength, but it's not, entirely about upper body strength. And with the assistance of coaches, I was able to do it. So, yeah.
So, let's see. How much time do we have left? I'm like, I just got this phone, so I'm like, oh, that's right. I got to open it with my face. We have about 3 minutes left, and then, we'll have to turn the camera off, say goodbye. So, if you were to say one closing statement, not just on CrossFit, because at the end of the day, we're not just CrossFitters here. Like, we're people, and we all acknowledge that. That's part of what makes this experience cool, is that you're around people. What is one takeaway you think you have taken from this gym and put into being a mom and being an officer, and vice versa?
You get to meet people who come from all different kinds of backgrounds, have all different types of aspects. And so I feel like just learning from getting to meet those people and then learning from them, building a relationship with them. I feel like that's what separates this gym ultimately from any other gym that anybody would really go to. Like, you come in and you see the same people here every day, and it's not, oh, I come to the gym and I just see my coach. Like, you see all the coaches all the time. You get to meet them, and it's not like, oh, Bo's the owner, he never comes in. He is always in here. Or Chris only does martial arts, so I don't get to see him. No, he's always here, and you get to meet his wife. And same with Garrett and Priscilla, they're always here. You always get to see them. So I feel like this gym has a lot more to give than just, oh, come in and get a good workout. Like, there's so much more to this place than just that. So.
All right. Well, that's pretty much our time right there. Thank you guys for joining us for another episode of the CrossFit Madera podcast. This has been Coach Marco.
And Priscilla.
And we'll see you guys next time at the gym.